In this video, we are going to talk about the data cleanup tool inside of OpenRoads Designer to possibly select elements inside of your file that maybe you have some duplicates or some overlaps and stuff like that. So to get to the tool, go to the drawing workflow, go to the Analyze tab, and there's this button right here that says Design File Cleanup. Now inside of here, you got 4 different tabs, depending on what you're wanting to look at in your file. Now for this example here, what we're going to use is mainly the duplicates, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But underneath the General tab, you have some options over here to the side. The ones that I mainly look at right here is your cleanup actions. What do you want to do? So like if you had a bunch of duplicates, what do you want to do with those? Do you want to select them or do you want to automatically delete those? Normally I just go ahead and select those. That way I can move those to the side and maybe review the duplicates that I have and so forth and then delete them after the fact. But you have both different options. Same thing for your overlaps and your gaps. Now underneath the duplicates tab, this just gives you some more filters that you can look at whenever it's trying to look for those duplicates. So maybe instead of looking for everything, I just want to look for arcs or a line string. It just gives you more filters that you can do with it. Same thing for the overlaps. Same thing for the gaps. You got all kinds of filters that you can look at inside of there. Now if I go back to the General tab, for this example here, I have a bunch of different duplicates right over top of the same geometry. And just to kind of show you that, let me go back to the Home tab and go to Element Selection. And if I try to make a selection set out of this little area right here, where I'm doing everything that's contained inside of it plus overlapping it, you're going to see that down below here I have 3 elements. Even though it looks like one element, there's 3 elements there. Same thing for this line. You see that there's 3. Same thing for this building. The cell. You see that we have 3. So we got some duplicates over top of that geometry. Then I'm going to go ahead and clean up. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is for my duplicates, I'm going to go ahead and select them. If I go to my duplicates tab here, I'm going to try to grab everything that it sees as a duplicate. I'm not going to worry about the overlaps and the gaps for this particular example. Once I have that set, all I need to do is click on Apply. And you'll see through here that it found all these elements that are duplicates. Now you can decide to do with it whatever you want. If you want to go ahead and just move those off to the side, you can do that. Or you just could have went in there and deleted those. But now what we should see for our buildings here, we should only see one element. And same thing for our lines here. We only have one element. So that's good. So now with this extra geometry, you can move it to some other location, or I could select it and just come in there and delete it. So that's one example of using the data cleanup tool. Now, one thing that you do want to be aware of is how it handles text, because sometimes it doesn't grab the actual duplicates of text depending on what type of text font that you're using. So to show you that, let me go back to the element selection tool and let me go ahead and go over like number 21 here. You'll see that there's 3 elements over top of that. Same thing for 22 and so forth. Even though whenever I came in here and did the duplicates and I hit apply, nothing showed up. So just to make sure, what I'm going to do for my text is I'm going to come into my General tab. I'm going to select my overlaps. And if I go ahead and hit apply right now, it's going to find the overlaps also. But you do see that it grabbed the text. So using that option will allow us to grab the text of it. Now, but you do see that it grabs some of these other elements. So what I'm going to do is go back to my duplicates, and instead of looking for everything, I'm just going to go ahead and look for text, hold my control key down, and do text nodes. And then for my overlaps, instead of looking for everything, I'm going to select something that really doesn't correspond to the text. So like, let's just go ahead and select ellipse, because that's something that is not common in a file, so to speak, at least with our design files. So I'm just going to look for the type of ellipse. And then now if I go back to my general tab and I go ahead and hit apply, you'll see that it just grabbed the text right here. So that's just something to be aware of whenever you're trying to grab just those elements that are just text inside of there using certain types of different fonts. So like I said before, now you can do with it whatever you want. So if I just want to move it off to the side just to make sure that I just grab text and that's it, I can do that. So grab all these overlaps. Then I can just come in here and select them again and delete them. Now I should just have one element inside there. So that's just some general information of using the data cleanup tool. There's probably a lot of different other options that you could do inside of here depending on your situation, but that's just a basic demonstration of using the data cleanup tool.